Hey guys, Craig here with Geektech.ie back with another video, and today we're taking a look at the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact. This is one of Sony's latest flagship devices and launched alongside the Sony Xperia Z3 itself, which is a larger device. This includes all the same specs that we've seen with that device, but in a smaller form factor, just for people who don't want large devices, something that fits better in the pocket, can be used more readily with one hand and stuff. So this is just a quick introduction to the review. We'll be talking about the design, the specs, our kind of opinion over the device itself. Before we get into that, we're going to take a quick look at the box it comes in and its contents. It's pretty straightforward, nothing's really changed, but nonetheless we thought we'd get a quick look at the box itself. So let's get this review rolling and take a look at the box before we move on to the device itself. Okay, so this is the box that the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact comes in. It's pretty much exactly the same what we've seen before, and nothing's really changed. I do have the charger already out, so I didn't want to throw it back in, but the charger comes with is 5 volts and 1.5 amps. So it should charge your phone relatively quickly. But yeah, I just wanted to give a quick look at the box itself here. As you can see, it is the white device, so you can kind of see the picture of it there. I will flip it over and you get a look at the back there. I'll zoom in just in case you want to pause and give it a quick look. These are all the colors the device comes in. They have them printed here in the back: red, green and black, along with the white device, and then some of the specs, but we'll get into them as we're doing the review itself. But yeah, so inside the box just comes with a USB cable and headphones, but since this is a demo unit, they don't actually include the headphones. But again, I thought I'd give you a quick look. Bunch of literature, USB 2.0 cable, and then the charger itself. So that's pretty much all you get inside, along with the headphones as well, which are Sony in-ear buds things. But yeah, pretty standard packaging and standard accessories. Nothing different there, but I thought nonetheless we'd start off this review by taking a look at the box itself, and that's pretty much it. So let's get moving on and take a look at the device itself and see how that performs and see how it looks and stuff, and talk about the specs. Okay, so this is the phone itself. Sony have gone with a different kind of design than they had the previous device, the Z3 Z1 Compact itself. Basically what we're looking at here is the removal of the metal frame. Now, I know some people will consider that a downgrade, but to be perfectly honest with you, the metal frame wasn't doing much for the Z1 Compact in anywho. So they've gone with something that what they're calling is liquid distortion or something like that, and basically it's like a translucent plastic around the sides that kind of gives like a blur between the metal. So I'll zoom in there real quick to show you, and you can see that there. I hope that's focused okay. But yeah, it's actually a really nice design. It's nice to see something different compared to, I mean, just a plastic rim or a fake plastic metal look design, or even the metal itself. I mean, the metal, it was nice, but it didn't really do anything. I mean, it wasn't really making much of a difference. I particularly think this is a much nicer feel, and another benefit is actually the dimensions of this device. So we're looking at 127.3 up, 64.9 wide, and then 8.6 millimeters thick, and it weighs 129 grams. Basically what that means is, while we're looking at a 4.6 inch display, everything else about this device is smaller, even though the display is bigger, and it weighs less, and it has a bigger battery. So I mean, straight off the bat, we can actually say this is a worthy upgrade. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, if that's what people are arguing about, whether or not this is something worthy of upgrading over the previous device, definitely. I mean, it's lighter, it's actually a less overall design. I mean, not by much, we're talking millimeters here, or like nanometers, if anything. It's really, really small difference, but the screen is bigger, it weighs less, and it has a bigger battery. Definitely an improvement. It looks nicer as well. I definitely think it looks nicer. You've got these little kind of nubs here around the edges as well. I think might add a little bit of protection to the corners. I'm hoping. I mean, I'm guessing that's just part of the design, but if anything, it looks pretty nice. But yeah, we'll take a quick run around the device and see what we have here. Okay, so we'll start with the right side here. Here we have the power button, volume rocker, and dual press camera key. So you can slightly press it for focus and then press it fully for taking a shot, as you can see. We'll flip around the other side, and here we have the flap thingy here for, I believe that's the nano SIM. Yeah, that's the nano SIM. And then up the top here, if I can pull that out, is the micro USB and micro SD slot. So there is a micro SD slot in there, which we always love to see. That's pretty much it for the two flaps. That's the only things that are covered for the waterproofing. And yes, waterproofing is on board for this device. It includes IP68, so 30 minutes or 1 meter depth, and you're good to go. You'll have no issues there. The earphone slot here at the top, this is the only other error. Microphone, I guess as you can sound, the second microphone or the noise cancelling microphone, and 3.5mm headphone jack. And then at the bottom we have pretty much microphone and speaker. That's it. That's pretty much all the corners of the device. On the back here we have a kind of glassy reflective back, the camera and LED flash and a few logo details there. I just want to fix the focus so you can see that better. But yeah, again, not much of the overall design has changed, just the edges, I guess, and then internals obviously have been upgraded somewhat. And we'll move over to the front of it. So the display, so we're looking at a 4.6 inch display. It's 319 pixels per inch, so 720p IPS LED display. It's extremely bright. I definitely enjoyed how bright this was. It's more than easy to use in sunlight. I have the brightness set up to max here, but again with the two lights, just like on the Galaxy Alpha when reviewing that, it's still very visible even with these two lights beaming on the camera. Yeah, it's a very nice display. Colors look pretty great on it. In terms of quality, it's definitely a step up from the Xperia Z1 Compact. The whites on it are extremely good as well, being an LCD. Definitely great whites, which is something we've noted. On certain devices I've seen before, they have terrible whites, but on this it's definitely an improvement. I'm not sure, see if we can fix the focus there so you can see it well. But yeah, the screen is extremely good on this. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed with the quality here. Obviously, if you're going for a device like this, you're looking for a smaller form factor. You're not going for, I mean, the overall specs, even though this definitely has great specs. You're not going for the top of the line display wise. You're just going for a decent looking display, but I definitely think most people will be impressed with the quality that display is giving off, especially because it's I mean it is only 720p display, it's not 1080p, but we are looking at a decent pixels per inch at 319. It's definitely high enough. So yeah, it's definitely an improvement over the previous generation, and yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be missing out on terms of display quality, even if they go for a more higher end device. That being said, I haven't had a chance to look at the Xperia Z3 yet, so we'll see what that display is like itself, and we'll get back to you on that, whether or not it's a big enough step up. But again, I think the idea of the Xperia Z3 Compact is more of a smaller form factor for those who don't want larger devices. But that's why it's great that Sony have improved the size of the display. I think it's 4.3 up to 4.6 now, and they've gotten everything else down, the weight, the sizes and stuff. And I think removing the metal is obviously catered to that. But again, we're looking at increased battery life, which is even better. So that's pretty much it for display. Inside, we have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 chipset. Again, we've seen this multitude of times. Quad-core 2.5 gigahertz, and the Crate 400, Adreno 330 GPU with 2 gigabytes of RAM. It has 16 gigabytes of storage built in, and again, the micro SD slot is in there as well. But yeah, that's, I mean, the performance we've seen with the Snapdragon 801 before is definitely up there. Obviously, you're not going to run into any issues. Flagship performance all in all. But I tell you what we will do is we'll quickly do a benchmark here, just so you can see it. Quickly one Geekbench 3. Very popular benchmark, very quick, very easy, and gives you an idea on single core and multi-core performance. So I'll let that run down. We'll talk about some of the other specs. We obviously have Wi-Fi, ABGN, AC, 5 gigahertz dual band, Bluetooth 4.0, and NFC is all in there. It's 3G and LTE enabled, so you won't have to worry about networks. I'm not sure, it's category 4, but I'm not sure what bands it works on, because I'm going to have to check that to see, because I think they have different versions for the United States and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's 3G and LTE anyway. I'm just letting that finish up there. Yeah, the IP68 is dust and waterproof certified, so you can dunk this in water up to 1 meter for 30 minutes and you won't run into any issues, which is definitely a nice trait. And I know a lot of people have been looking for that in certain devices, and it's nice to see that Sony are continuing that stream, because they're kind of the first to really adopt that kind of waterproofing side of things. But there you go, there's the results there: 962, 2657 for the multi-core. And yeah, definitely top end performance. I know we've seen better with certain devices like the Exynos 5 and the Galaxy Alpha, but again, nonetheless, this is definitely flagship performance, and you won't run into real performance issues. But you can jump over to our gameplay video and you can see how games have run. We checked out Dead Trigger 2, GTA San Andreas, and Modern Combat 5. But again, nothing to complain about performance wise. Again, I mean, performance has gotten to a point where we're not really seeing a lot of things taking real benefit of them yet, but I know that's going to change in the future. So, but it's nice to know. It's nice to know that devices aren't going to be like hindered by performance. Like a device like this will have no problem running updated versions of Android or something like that because of outdated hardware. They all have pretty much top end hardware. So it's definitely nice to see that in there. Performance is definitely top notch. Camera wise, okay, so this is where Sony have kind of been not all over the place, but they've kind of been up the top of the list, I guess, with megapixels. This again features the same camera where you see in the Z3 itself, which again is quite surprising. So it's 20.7 megapixel. I think it's 0.3 sensor size, HDR plus HDR video, 4K at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 60 frames per second, and 30 frames per second, and then 720p at 120 frames per second. So yeah, the camera on this, I've taken a lot of pictures with it, I've done a lot of work on it. The only gripe I have with this is that a lot of people are going to be ending up using the Superior Auto Mode, which is the camera app. You have no settings in there. You can't pick 20 megapixel. Basically what it does, it automatically downscales the 20 megapixel shots into 8 megapixel shots and gets rid of any noise or anything like that, picking out the best pixels or whatever. But it's, I mean, the manual setting, I mean, that's where you're going to have whatever resolution you want, whatever scene you want, your white balance, your turning HDR, turning image stabilization on. So it's great that there is a manual mode. It's just, I know a lot of people are going to default to the Superior Auto Mode, and it would have been nice to have a little bit more flexibility with its performance, I guess, and what you can do with the configuration options. But nonetheless, performance is definitely it's not, I mean, it's not the best camera I've seen. I definitely think the Galaxy S5, the 16 megapixel camera, has definitely, like, it's ahead of it, which in terms quality wise. But that being said, I don't think anyone who buys this device will ever be disappointed with it. It's still quite insane to see all of these specs in such a small device and still have a 2600 milliamp battery. I mean, that's pretty impressive on its own right. And the camera itself is, I mean, the HDR definitely worked. The image stabilization was extremely impressive. Like, it kept everything smooth. Sorry, the video stabilization, I should say, for videos and stuff. But you can check out all those videos yourself, and you can see the quality, and you can kind of determine that and get an idea of what you're going to be dealing with if you wanted this device. If like taking videos and pictures is a big deal for you, definitely check them out. I mean, there's tons of videos online recorded with this device, so you can obviously get an idea. I think personally, if I wanted the best camera, I don't think it would be this. That being said, I wouldn't be disappointed with it. I wouldn't take shots, pictures, or videos and go, that's crap quality. It's just, it's not the best quality. It's really, really good quality. It's just not the best. I mean, that's probably the best way I can put it, is that it's definitely up there. It's just not at the top of the list. It's not the first camera I would go to if I was buying a phone specifically for its camera, if I cared that much about it. I don't really, that's the point. That's why I find it hard to explain. But again, the form factor of this device, I mean, it matters more for the camera in the Z3, but for this is really for people who want a flagship device with flagship specs, but without the flagship size that we've been seeing lately, which is 5 inches plus. But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much the camera. On the front, we have a 2.2 megapixel camera, and it supports 1080p at 30 frames per second. So yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the features. I mean, the other thing to talk about would be the UI and stuff, which again, we have pictures and stuff, screenshots of the entire UI. Not much has changed. I mean, it's pretty much identical to what we've seen before from Sony, from their last endeavor with the Z1 series and Z2 series. But yeah, I mean, most of it's the same. You have all your quick settings there. You can launch. You have the app launcher, which you can bring up a side menu here for arranging it and stuff. But I guess, I mean, I know there's a lot of people complain about app launchers and stuff like that, but to me, I mean, well, the overall skins and stuff, to me, I just think that's a little it's an outdated complaint because it's Android. If you don't like the keypad, replace it, or the keyboard, replace it. If you don't like the app launcher, replace it. I mean, it's that simple, and that's the charm of Android, is if you don't like something, just replace it. The only gripe I have is that when you're bringing down the notification menu, you can't get the quick settings aren't quick. I mean, you have to bring it down and then you have to click it. I don't know if dragging 2 fingers does it. It does, but I mean, that's still, I don't have to be dragging 2 fingers down. That's the only gripe I had, is that some of the quick settings should be up there. I mean, that's not a lot of real estate to lose for notifications. I've never had that many notifications to care that much. So it would have been nice to have some of the things up here. That's the only gripe I have with the UI. Overall, I actually quite like the Sony's skin and stuff like that, because it's pretty easy to use. It's actually as straightforward as it gets, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing negative about it, other than the fact is that, you know, the quick settings. But that's pretty much it for the device there. So yeah, I mean, it does support MHL, USB on the go, and all those cool features that we've seen with devices now. So you can slap in adapters and stuff. I guess that's the only other thing we're talking about. But yeah, that's pretty much the Sony Xperia Z3. The battery life. Okay, that's the last thing I actually have to talk about. I have been using this for a week, and I can say without a doubt the battery life in this thing is incredible. It's absolutely, I mean, again, it all comes down to the fact that this device is much smaller than bigger devices, so they obviously have much more battery to work with, but Sony did fit a 2600 milliamp battery. Now, I mean, for comparison, the Galaxy Note 4 has a 3200 milliamp battery. So we're looking at 620 extra on a phone that's way bigger than the Z3 Compact. And again, for the Z3 and the LG G3 and all the big devices that are like 5.5 inches plus or something like that, they all have much bigger batteries, but not much bigger in the sense that the devices are much bigger than this. So it is nice to see that Sony fitted a big enough battery that this device can definitely last over a day. But you can check out our full kind of, like, see, I mean, the battery tests, this is the awkward part for the reviews, is that it's very dependent on what you do. What we do is we do a broad range of things. 50% brightness is pretty much a constant. I use Wi-Fi and 3G, mostly 3G. I do a bunch of phone calls, videos, camera, watching videos, bit of gameplay and stuff like that. So, and that's pretty much like, I like to do a broad range rather than do one thing over and over again. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, one device might perform better than another device doing one thing, but then if you do another thing, that other device might do better. So in the sense is that we do a kind of a broad range thing, just so you use every aspect of it, because a camera can use a lot of power, 3G radio can use a lot of power, gameplay can use a lot of power, having a display even on or off can use a lot of power, and those are factors that we try to consider. And it's more personal and environmental on how your battery power lasts and stuff. So I mean, but yeah, we definitely got more than 12 hours usage of medium to heavy usage out of this, the battery in this. It lasted quite long, so I don't think anyone would be disappointed. It's not like the whole 2-day battery that most people are hoping for devices, but to be honest, you could, if you cut out gaming, the brightness was down less than 50%, maybe you could definitely get 2 days. You could skip charging it one day and you wouldn't actually run out. There is like kind of power saving things in there and features, but I haven't had the need to actually use them because, again, the battery has lasted long enough that I've been able to just quickly charge it up if I needed to. I mean, that's definitely a positive for this kind of device. So I mean, if you are looking for a Z3 Compact, we can definitely recommend it. All the specs in there are, I mean, top of the range. Camera is really, really good. Not the best, but definitely really, really good. Good enough to take decent videos and photos and stuff. The front-facing camera is great. I mean, 1080p, 2.2 megapixel. It's good enough for your selfie shots or whatever you want to do with it. But yeah, that's pretty much, we definitely recommend it. And you can check out the full review on the site where you can get UIs, pictures, videos. We have the videos on the channel as well, and the gameplay performance, but all of that is put into a massive review on the site itself, which I will include a link for it below. But that's pretty much it for our overview, impressions, review, thingamababa slash sort of unboxing, I guess you could call it, of the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact. So yeah, please check out the review on the site, like the video if you liked it, or you can dislike it if you disliked it, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I would also love for you to just subscribe and check us out on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. I'll be sharing more things in the future and doing more reviews. So thanks for watching.